Hi Rohit.
Hey, hi Keshav. Hey everyone. Good evening, good morning. We'll start in a couple of minutes. So, okay, great. So it's been 4 o'clock in my clock, and we can start some soft conversation. So it's been a long time after almost, I think, after 23 or the start of 20, at the end of 22, we have last session. So we are trying to kick off our user group again. So this is our first session, and so thanks all for joining. Thanks, Chris. I can see Aswini is also here. Thank you guys for joining in, and I can wait for 5 minutes. After that, we can start. We can talk about our main topic on observability and OpenTelemetry. So this is just a kickoff session. So we are planning to have multiple sessions. So maybe we'll invite a couple of guests in upcoming sessions to have some deep dives in OpenTelemetry space. This is a hot topic like observability we are talking about. So we'll do in next couple of sessions. Those are planned. So as of now, we are planning one session every month. So based on the response, if required, we can do bi-weekly as well. But right now it's planned like we can start from our kickoff, and then we can go ahead and we are going to do multiple sessions in next year in 2025. Okay, so I can start talk about myself. My name is Rohit. I'm having roughly in industry from last 10 plus years, and I'm working on these observability and open telemetry from last couple of years. So we have created our enterprise. We moved from our enterprise monitoring to enterprise observability now because everyone is moving from the monitoring, our traditional monitoring to observability part. And so I thought, okay, I will share my experience around so what we have done and what is all about observability and all that. So we'll discuss about it before we start. So we can start with quick, you can say um, introduction sessions if you are okay to share. So, and if you are okay, you can also enable your video cams. So it's been good, and if you are comfortable, so you can do the introduction part, and we'll wait for 4 past 5, and then we can start.
Rohit, maybe I can go first. Hi everyone, my name is Keshav. I'm unable to turn on my camera because I'm traveling right now. You may also hear some ambient noise, so sorry for that. Um, I have been working with monitoring for the last 8, 9 years, close to 9 years now. And I've worked on several tools, including Splunk. Splunk has been the mainstay of my monitoring exposure so far. Um, Obviously, we had this Pune user group earlier as well, and then due to our own personal obligations, we were not able to continue. But it's good to be back. As Rohit said, this is something that we are trying to kick off, and observability in itself is a huge topic. And as you said, a lot of companies are moving towards an end-to-end observability solution that not just encompasses API or application monitoring, but there are several aspects to it. And henceforth, I'm really looking forward to this, and I look forward to speak with you all.
Yep, thanks, guys. So I can see chat from the Chris. Hello, Chris. He joined from the Canberra, Australia. Thanks, Chris, for your time. I can see Rusev also joined. Thanks, Rusev. Okay, I think it's a good time to start. So we can start our basic part. So there are some rules we do follow. So thanks again for joining Pune's Patients. So I can start the conversation now. Let me start my presentation. Okay, hope everyone is able to see my screen. So these are some housekeeping rules. So you can join us in Slack, and we have a Splunk user group in Slack, so you can go there, and if you have any kind of question and all, you can do. Right now, in a Splunk new platform which we are using, so you can ask those questions over here as well over the chat. So it's very nice platform Splunk has designed. Thanks to them. So before this is our main topic for today, it's observability. So before I will jump into my thoughts, so uh, let's talk about it. I don't want this is like one way communication. So let's understand. So what is your understanding around observability? So would you like anyone, Keso, or anyone like to, if you're comfortable, you would like to share your thoughts on observability or monitoring piece? Okay, no worries. So I can start. It's fine. It's been kickoff meeting, so I don't expect much from you guys. So we can be comfortable, and we can ask more questions in the next sessions. So I can start from the observability. Before that, as per my experience in IT from last 10 years, so I just want to go back. Right now we are in 2024 at the end of 24. When I started my career 10 years back, so at that time we used to talk about the monitoring. So we used to talk about, okay, hey, we have to enable enterprise monitoring. So in last 10 years, so there are a lot of changes I have seen in the monitoring space, and now we are talking about the observability. So before I will go to observability, I just want to talk about what is monitoring. So what we used to do in last 5 years back, or you can say couple of years back. In the monitoring, we used to collect the metrics, like we used to collect host metrics. You can say CPU, memory, and all these things, and we used to define threshold. Okay, hey, if my CPU will go to 80%, if my CPU will go to 90%, so I need some kind of alerts, and based on that I will do monitoring. And this is basically typically this kind of monitoring is used by our production support teams, or you can say operations teams. Once application is developed and they are supporting some infra and all these that kind of things, they used to support. Okay, hey, there is CPU, let's check the CPU, why it is coming like 90% and all these things. So we used to collect those metrics. So if I talk in term of Splunk, so if you are aware about the Splunk things, so they right now they have, or they used to have Splunk add-on for Unix and Splunk add-on for Windows, and they used those add-ons to collect the metrics related to CPU and all these things like host metrics from these systems. So that is the era of monitoring. At the same time, we used to have some logs. So in the monitoring earlier, what we used to have some metrics and we used to have some logs. So we used to get those things into Splunk, and we do our analysis, or you can say our support teams used to do some that kind of analysis. And those are very kind of restrictive. So it's like, okay, I know uh, I have created some threshold, but I don't know, like this is like, you can say, reactive type of monitoring. It's like once I will know, okay, hey, there is a CPU, then I can see, okay, I have to do something, I will go back, but I was not about aware about the unknown, why it is happening and all that. So that is was very critical piece, and it is only taken care by operations team. And there is only ways, like we have only metrics and we have some logs. So we used to see in a logs, okay, hey, why it is happening. Now, the other fact, if we talk about monitoring, 5 years back, we used to have different kind of infrastructure. So we used to have our static environments. So we used to create our environments. We used to have our database on-prem. We used to have, you can say, if our networks and all these things. So that concept, it's like static kind of infrastructure. But right now, if you see how rapidly this application thing is, application infrastructure is changing. Right now, we are not talking about static things. Everyone is talking about dynamic things. Our infrastructure is not static. Earlier, we used to have monolithic applications. Now we have microservices. One service is available into containers. One service is available in on-prem. One service, we are using our SaaS vendors. It's like, it's very complex environment. So the traditional monitoring, we can't rely on that right now. It's like, we don't know what are the unknowns, so how we can monitor and all that part. So that's how observability came into the picture. um, we are not saying, okay, we have issue with the traditional monitoring, but we are saying, okay, with the current infrastructure we are going, and the way it changes is its dynamics. So right now you can say we have microservices, thousands of microservices one application using. They have some service they are storing into S3 buckets. They have some service in EC2s. They have some databases created into, you can say, on-prem. They're connecting, or they have some size vendors. They are going there. So we need to understand, like how my service is behaving, where we have issues and all that. So that's how observability came into picture. And you can see in my screen, so what is the observability? So we are just trying to focus on what you can't see, the unknowns. If the root cause of failure is still invisible, your IT plane will be shut down again. So with the current complex environment, so this is the ideal statement. So it's like, okay, we need to understand how I will make my environment more flexible from the observability point of view. And before anything happens, or my application will be go into toss, so I should be aware, okay, hey, this is the issue and this is what we have to do. And I should able to do that kind of remediation and all these things. Before I will move on, so anyone, any idea, like do you what kind of tools you are using in your enterprise, and how you are doing this observability stack, or what is the stage of observability in your enterprise? Like, you are still in monitoring, you started in observability, or how you are doing these parts? So you can give your answer in the chat as well, and you can go ahead like that. So I will give you, like 30 seconds to answer, like what is the current state. It's like you don't aware about the observability, or you have something related to observability or monitoring, so we can do that.
Rohit, for us, we have just now started on that journey. We are using this product from Grafana Labs, which is called LGTM. We're also starting to engineer a lot of open telemetry related stuff on our side. But majorly for now in our organization, it's using Prometheus, Sana, Splunk for a lot of log management stuff. Um, then we have Big Panda for event correlation, um, etc. I mean, yeah, and then ServiceNow for event management. We don't really have observability set up yet, but yeah, it's still the works are ongoing as I speak.
Ah, great. So it's like, you have lot of things in the bits and pieces. So we
True,
need a
true.
single glass of pen. Okay, hey.
Yeah, that is why LGTM, which kind of has the entire stack uh, embedded, that is kind of being worked upon so that we have an end-to-end view of everything, including tracing. I think that's something that is not there. So we also have, like, for example, app dynamics, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's not like giving an end-to-end state of like, for example, a web service call, right? So that's something that is currently being worked upon.
Oh, great. Okay. Thanks, Keshav. So we were talking about, how monitoring and observability are different. One more example I can thought about is like, monitoring is a practice, so which is done by our operations teams. But observability, can say it is a one step ahead. Along with the operation teams, so we do include our development teams as well in case of observability. So how it works, it's like, in case of observability, so we do APM part, we do digital experience, we do everything, right? So if I'm a developer and I have enabled the observability uh, in enterprise and my application having observability enabled, so when I deploy in a dev, so I'm able to identify, okay, hey, I can see some delay in the responses in APIs, or I can see there is some delay in the database response and all these things. So I'm able to easily trace those things. Like maybe I have some memory leakage, or maybe I have some code leakage, something like that. So we can do profiling part. So in the observability, compared to traditional monitoring, if I say monitoring is basically for ops teams, observability is for both operations as well as for both development teams. So it is going, there are a lot of ways we can explain observability. So this is one of the difference I can explain, or I have observed in my last 5 to 10 years on this tech stack. So this is one of the, you can see like, some examples I just pasted here. So this is how we used to do the monitoring, and what is the observability. So this is all I talked about. Let me move to next part. So now we are talking about the observability. So what are the pillars we have? If I want to know about what is happening, so we do have metrics. So I have a telemetries, it's available, and I can see where it is happening. So we have a traces. Okay, you can see nice, diagram here. I just want to diagnose, okay, what is happening to my car, or you can say my four-wheeler. So you can use those traces. So it's like if it is connected to our APM and all these things, right? And why it is happening, then we have our events and logs. Over here, you can see on my right hand side. So there is a example of, a car. Over here, if you are a driver, you can see something is happening in your dashboards. You have, speedometer, you have a petrol, fuel indicator, and some other indicators. You can see, okay, if something is wrong, so you can see some indicators are there. So they are just giving you signals, okay, hey, there is some issue and all these things. So you can compare it with the matrix, right? If I talk about traces, so we need, some granular level tracing part. You can see, okay, hey, I can see there is something related to engine. It's blipping and all these things. So let's see what's happening there. So I can just open my car, and I can say, okay, hey, I can see maybe there's some issue on this particular part. Let's see, like I can do troubleshooting part or debugging part. Maybe it's sometime like you need, don't do that in daily practice, but it's like I'm just giving example. So if you are aware about your four-wheeler, then only you can do that. But you can say, I'm just comparing like how cars, and how our infrastructure is very similar and all these things, right? So you can do that kind of troubleshooting using those traces. Now I want, okay, more granular. Okay, what is the root cause, why it happened? So I'm going to get some data, right? So in a car we have that kind of software available nowadays. So they will just connect and they will say, okay, hey, what is happening? So is there an issue in engine performance, is there an issue into alignments and all these things? So we will get to know. So you can just correlate these all observability stack with our day-to-day things, like our four-wheeler, or you can say bike and all these things. That's how we can monitor those things, IT infra. So these are the basic pillars. These are the three pillars. So metrics we are going to use to detect, traces we are going to troubleshoot, and to understand what is the root cause. So to pinpoint the issues, so we are going to use events or logs. So these are the basic three pillars. Now question comes, why observability? There are a lot of benefits of the observability. So we are going to get unified visibility across any environment and stack. Right now I talked about the evolving scenario of current IT markets. I talked about how we move from the monolithic to the microservices. And in one application, I'm having AWS cloud. Maybe I'm using a database from the Azure. I'm using some VMs from my own infra, and I'm using some SaaS backend and all these things. So this is how observability comes into picture. I can add my collectors, I can try to instrument them, I can collect the metrics, traces, and logs, and I will get a unified view of the all all three things like metrics, logs, and traces. We can correlate those things in observability. That is the beauty of observability. So it is going to give us a unified visibility across all the environments for all the microservices. I will get to know, okay, hey, I can see some slowness on my UI, and my UI is deployed in S3. So I will see, okay, hey, when I'm connecting from database to UI, when I can see, okay, hey, there is any latency. So I will able to understand using those OpenTelemetry components and traces. So that is how observability comes into picture. So it gives us a unified visibility across it. Next thing you can say, early detection and investigations. So as I talked about the how monitoring we used to do traditionally. So we are doing reactive monitoring. When someone will tell, okay, hey, your CPU is 90% and there is maybe some issue in your code, maybe when you deploy in the production, so then when we have more loads and all these things at that time, it is breaking and all these things. That kind of stuff we can do in observability way earlier. I can generate the load. I can see, okay, where it is taking more time to respond, where API is not working correctly, and what is the issues. That kind of proactive, or you can say, we can, you can say self-explanatory thing for the development dev teams. They can do that kind of work, so they don't have to come to wait like, okay, hey, if anything happened to application at that time only I will work. They can do those things in a proactive manner. They can identify, okay, if I have 10 services, out of 10 3 are working fine, two having some delay to get response, why it is happening. They can do that kind of things, and we have better control. So we can control data. So we have that kind of processing power, we have that kind of transformation power. We can drop the data if not required and all these things. So we have that kind of control. That's why we are going away from the monitoring, standard monitoring, to the observability. So how we got to observability? What is the best thing we can say, okay, hey, we have achieved the observability? So these are the few things. These are few things. If you have enabled into your enterprise, so we can say, okay, we have obviously enabled in our enterprise level. So I can just go through the circles. If you see digital experience monitoring, so it's like if you have any UI application, so using observability, you can do the digital experience monitoring. Or you have URLs. Okay, hey, you are not getting uh, responses, like you can monitor them. It's like a, let's say you have a API calls and it should always give us 200, okay, So if it is working or not, so I can do proactively that synthetic monitoring. So we can do website monitoring, we can do synthetic monitoring. Like, we have some dummy account, and from dummy account we are going to try, let's say, facebook.com, right? So we just want to monitor facebook.com, it is working or not. So I will just set up the real user monitoring part, I will set up the synthetic monitoring part, or I have the apis. Okay, I just want to know, okay, my API is working or not, it is sending us response or not. So I can set up synthetic monitoring like URL monitoring, port monitoring, and all these things. Then you can see APM. This is application performance monitoring. In APM, you can see uh, we just want to do granular level service mapping. Like, I have a service, it is going from point A to point B and point B to point C, and then it is connected to database and it is coming back to point A. It is sending response. That kind of service mapping we can do, and it is used for the tracing point of view. Like, if I just want to understand about granularity of the situations, okay, what is happening, so I can do tracing. Then third piece is interesting, like infrastructure monitoring. So we can do infrastructure monitoring. So we can gather all the metrics from the multi-cloud environments. Like, if I have AWS, if I have Azure, if I have Oracle, or if I have on-prem setup, or if I have some custom thing, so I can do that kind of infrastructure monitoring. Then we have, you can say, log analysis. Log is one of the basic pillar of monitoring and data. So logs are also included here. So it's like, when I have to do any kind of RCA and all these things, so we can do root cause analysis. Once we have all those aspects with us, we can do AI ops. Like, okay, I know what is happening. I need something. Okay, hey, this is your application and it is not working at midnight. So what we have to do? So there are a lot of things we can do AI ops. So it's like, we can do incident creation. We can do, there are a lot of tools available. I can send some X matters, or you can say some calls to the teams. Okay, hey, this is not working. Or if I have something, I can do at my side. Okay, hey, this is the issue I have seen in the past. Maybe this is a fix. So I can use AI ops. So in a market, there are a lot of tools. In a Splunk, we have Splunk ITSI module, so you can use the Splunk ITSI module for the AI ops. And same thing is for the incident response, how we are going to respond to the issues. So there are multiple ways we can create automated process. Okay, this is a recurring incident, so we can write some nice scripts. Or in cyber, you can say we have some source solutions, so we can follow that, and we can do that. So observability is not only for the operations, so we can use these observability things into cyber as well for the correlations. Because if I talk about DDoS attacks and all these things, at that time also my CPU goes in the toss, right? So I can correlate why it is happening. So that kind of stuff we can do that. So it's obviously it's not only for operations, it is also very beneficial for the cyber point of view. So this is one of the single pane of glass, you can say. So if I have observability enabled, so I can do monitoring and analyzing, I can do correlation and investigation, then AI feature comes into picture. So you can explore Splunk ITSI for that and some other tools, and then we have incident response and we can do automation part. So this is the whole framework. You can say observability is kind of framework which is enabled for the enterprise. So we can enable that framework for large scale enterprise, and we can monitor. We can enable observability for our application teams, so they can go through okay, what is happening in their application. And once we have some data, so if they need some kind of alerting and monitoring, so we can create alerting monitoring. So we can also correlate. The one thing I want to say about AI ops, the beauty of AI ops is like, let's say I have uh, 10 systems and I'm getting same kind of issues. So let's say it's correlated. Let's say from one system I'm saying, hey, in this application my CPU is X%, and due to that CPU, there is some other issue came up. Okay, it's not working, or some application UI is not working. So AI ops do that job. So it try to correlate those kind of events. This server is part of X application. In X application, we can see uh, the issue in the UI. We can see some issue into backend and all these. It will correlate, it will merge, and it will give me a single episode. and we can analyze all those things. So this is the beauty of AI ops. So we can use that for AI ops things. So it is going to increase the incident and problem management in enterprise when we have large scale things. But if we talk about earlier ways, we also used to do, okay, for every single thing, if my CPU is getting into toss, I'm getting incident. If due to that something else happened, my UI is not working, I'm going to get incident. So instead of 10 incidents, so right now we will get one incident only because it is correlated. So that is how we can see how AI ops and observability works together. So this is all about the observability. Before I will jump into second part of the conversation. So any thoughts, any questions? Okay, I can see
I'm
some
good. Well,
comments from,
thanks.
yeah, I can see some comments from the research. So he says he's not aware about the observability, but he was learning Big Panda, New Relic etc. Okay, yeah. So these are the observability tools. So they are also using same framework right now. Earlier they used to have maybe their own agents, but right now everyone is moving to open telemetry. So that is our next topic. Yeah. I can see Keshav he wrote about prevents alert fatigue. Yes, you are right. Okay, anything else before we jump into second part? Or anyone to share anything? Okay, let's move to next part. That is quite interesting part. So it is, you have heard about open telemetry. So we need to understand what is open telemetry. So anyone any idea about the open telemetry? What it all about? You can just chat if you are not able to get that voice button. Okay, I think Ashwini, you have to join maybe some kind of presenter. Okay, okay. I can see Chris is saying he knows about it but no experience with it. Okay, yeah. Open telemetry is we can say it's kind of a framework which is supported by CNCF. CNCF is it's one of the foundation which also, uh, if you are aware about Kubernetes, right? So Kubernetes is also graduate from the CNCF, and OpenTelemetry is one of the project CNCF is supporting. CNCF and Linux Foundation, they are supporting, and CNCF is like cloud native computing function, so we call it as a CNCF. OpenTelemetry, you can say, is like a open source observability framework which is designed to provide standardized instrumentation data collection for distributed systems. Okay, so why everyone is going to open telemetry way and all these things? Any idea? It's like, this is a CNCF project, and I can contribute, you can contribute. There are a lot of vendors. Splunk is also one of the biggest contributor of open telemetry. If you go to opentelemetry.io, you can see Splunk is one of the contributors, and there are some other competitors like uh, New Relic. I can see someone typed about New Relic. Datadog is here, and everyone is adopting Dynatrace, which is the biggest APM tool earlier. So they are also biggest. They are also contributing to open telemetry. So why open telemetry? So if you have seen in the past, so let's say I'm talking about the tool X. If I have to enable any monitoring and all these things, I have to install the agent of tool X, and I have to move from the tool X, and I have to do the migration to tool Y. So it is like 5-year process for me, right? We do every tool have their own standards. If I'm saying my metadata looks like metadata dot one, but the same metadata will be defined in a different way in tool Y. So that is very bad experience, you can say, or you can say very complex part. What open telemetry is doing, it's like they are making a standard framework. Okay, So we are going to make a standard framework, how we are going to collect the logs, how we are going to collect the metrics, and how we are going to collect the traces. And after that, based on the whatever you can say the enterprise, if you want to use Splunk, you can send it to Splunk backend. If you want a tool Y, you can send to tool Y. Or if you have developed your backend, so you can send to your backend as well. Or let's say you want to store the data into uh, your, you can say, database, you can store that. You can do anything, but standard is going to be the same. If I am getting in host field like a host dot one, so it will be the host dot one for all the backends. It is not going to change. We are going to use same set of single set of APIs, libraries, agent, and collector. Wherever I'm sending, it's my call, it's enterprise call, or it's your call, but the framework is going to be the same. All the metadata is going to be the same. So that is the beauty of OpenTelemetry. So it provides a vendor neutral solution for collecting, exporting telemetry data, and it also supports a wide range of programming language, framework, and platforms. So we can instrument our Java application, we can instrument our Go application, you know, we can instrument our .NET application. There are a lot of features available, and right now I can see F5 also donated. F5 is a leading partner in the networking part and all these things, network security and all that. So they also uh, donated some code related to network monitoring and all these things. And I think it's very evolving space right now. Every day there is some new changes coming in, and they are open telemetry. CNCF want a standard which should be followed by everyone, and you can use any tool or any backend. You can use Splunk observability, you can use white tool, that tool, whatever you want. That's all about open telemetry. And if you want, you can use Prometheus. Those are free tools. You can use Jagger and other observability tools. So that's the beauty of open telemetry. If I just say in a short, okay, hey, open telemetry is open standard CNCF is building, and it's a standard they are making for the logs, traces, and metrics collection, and you can use any kind of backend. So that's a beauty, and it's free. You can use any day. If you have your own backend, if you have developed your own backend, you can use that source code and you can develop at your site. And the one other thing which I was talking at the starting, migration. Tomorrow, let's say you are using X tool and you want to migrate to Splunk. Let's say Splunk observability tool. You don't have to work on other pieces. You just have to change the exporting layer. I just have to add the signal of X exporter. That is it. I don't have to do anything on my infra or whatever code base I have created. I just have to change the exporter. It's pretty simple. I'm going to send to other backends. That's how OpenTelemetry works. Okay. So what is the benefits of observability and OpenTelemetry together? I talked about standardization. It's like it eliminates needs of proprietary agents and libraries. It's a vendor agnostic solution. It allows organizations to switch telemetry package without changing instrumentation. It will, we have improved insights. Everyone is using same backends, and now that's their creativity. How they are going to correlate, how they are going to show logs, metrics, and traces for better root cause analysis. If I talk about the Splunk observability, so they have an integrated tight, coupled integration with Splunk Enterprise, Splunk Cloud. If you are sending your logs to Splunk Cloud, you can we can connect to Splunk observability. It's like let's say you have application A, and you are getting metrics into Splunk observability, and you are getting traces, and you can also connect to the logs using those trace IDs, pen ID, and all those things. So you can see everything in one place. I will cover that in the demo part in next sessions. But that's the beauty of Splunk observability have. and we have a scalable design, so we can use for the large distributed systems, and it's been proved, and a lot of enterprises are using for the open telemetry and observability combinations. Yeah. So as I said, this is a single way. So you can see we can we have instrumentation APIs, we have a data infrastructure, we can cover all the telemetry verticals. We can do tracing, metrics, and logs. So right now, tracing and metrics are full fledged, so they are stable. But logging is in a development phase. I think it's in a development as of now, and as soon as they are going to come into beta, and we can use. But we have tested that, and I have tested in my local, and it works. But it will take some time. So once we have that, open telemetry collector which is going to send us all three things, it is going to make life easy for everyone. So we don't have to add any kind of proprietary agent for anyone. So Splunk is also contributing all these parts and all that. So this is single way to capture the data. So this is one thing I want to show. I have done some POC around Splunk demo app. So this is one of the snips so I took on demo app. So how it works. So you can see over here, uh, this is a service map. So there are a lot of services which are based on Python, which are based on Go, C++, and they have backend like they're using JMax. They have database and all these things. Over here you can see this diagram. This is a service map. We call service map in Splunk observability. So you can see it is this service is connecting to this service, and it is going to next service. It's you can see there are multiple points it is going, and it is connecting to databases. Uh, it is connecting to some backends and all these things. So this is how we are able to understand, and we are able to see, okay, where we have a issue. You can see some red dots. It's like maybe I can zoom, but it's like these are the time. It's like how much time it took to get response or to redirect to this particular service. Let's say this is like 1.2 second or something like that. So why it is showing in a red mark? It is like the average time as per the past. Maybe it's like 30 seconds, but right now it is taking like 1 minute. So that's how they are just saying, okay, there is some issue. Maybe there is some issue. That's how it is taking 1 minute, and we just have to click on this particular service, and I can see the traces. Okay, what is happening, why it is happening. I can see do we have any service to service request error, or if I have any kind of latency and all these things in the right hand side. And in the Splunk observability, whatever services we do instrument those are in, you can say, hard side. This is a circle. You can see these are instrumented service, and these dotted lines, dotted squares and dotted circles, these are the inferred services. Like we are not instrumenting them, but I know my service is going to database, I know my service is going to some JMX, I know there's some Apache it is in between, or maybe we have gateway. So it is going to give me the holistic view of the service. Okay, how my service is going from point A to B to C to D, and when it is how much time it is taking and all that. I can see all the service requests, I can see all the errors, I can see all the service to service latencies and all these things. This is the beauty of service map, or you can say API. The other thing, maybe I will demo, I will get some instance from this Splunk, and I will show you. So when we do have this service map, if I click on any kind of services, I can see all the underlying infrastructure metrics, and I can see all the underlying logs as well for that particular service. So let's say, for example, from this service to this service, I can see there is some latency. I can see some red spots are there, like it is taking more time and all that. So I can see in the logs, okay, why it is happening. If I have to do RCA, I can see in traces, okay, hey, why this issue is here. So I can do that way. So I'm going to get that kind of granular information by seeing my service map, and it's very useful for developer as well. So if I'm a developer, so developer can also see, okay, hey, this is my application, this is my service, and I can see there is some errors. So they can easily rectify before support team or operations team go to developer, okay, hey, this is happening from this service to this service. There is lot of time they are taking. The developer can do proactive monitoring, or you can say proactive work, and they can deploy the code. So this is the beauty of the observability. This is how we can do. And I just want to cover one piece before I will close this talk. So we will go to deep down or deep discussion in next sessions. But I just want to show how we are control our data, how we can control using open telemetry collectors. Okay, so in an open telemetry collector we have three things. First, we have to receive the data, or you can say collect the data from our applications, infrastructure, or anything. I have to collect data. Then I have to process it, and then I have to export it. So these are the three key things for the collection point, open telemetry collector, right? So you can see this is in this layer, in the receiver layer. So we can get data from any internal host, or you can say AWS cloud or anyone, and we can receive those things. That is we call receivers. So this is one of the snippet I just took, and I just kept here. So this is the you can say this is how we write a open telemetry collector code. So we can say, okay, hey, this is a receiver, and we are going to receive all the traffic on OTLP protocol, OTLP, and we are going to use different protocols, right? So these are the receivers. So we are going to collect all the data. Now I have to process. So you can see we have batch processes. Like I have to collect data, process it, and I can send it. So right now you can say only batch is here, but we can have multiple things. We can transform it. Let's say I don't want debug things and all these things. If I talk about logs, I can just remove debugs. Let's say I have a uh, I have application. They don't aware about the environment standards and all these things, and they in a dev they have dev 1, dev 2, dev 3, dev 4, but I don't need that kind of garbage. So I just want to say everything to dev, right? So I can do that as well. I can add the transformation in this processing layer. I can say, okay, hey, transform dev 1 to dev 2 to dev, and all these things. So we'll explore in a granular way in our next sessions. But this is a kind of a processing thing. That is a processing power we have in open telemetry collectors. Then exporters. I can send it to OTLP protocol if you have your own backend like Prometheus and all these things, or if you have any backend. We can send it to SignalFX, that is a Splunk Observability Suite. So you can see over here, this is exporter section. You can see this is for the uh, APM, like to send the traces. So you have to give your access token and whatever endpoint you have, right? So this is how you can do. And this is a you have seen receivers, you have seen processor and exporter. These are things we have to define, right? After that, we have to enable them in a pipeline. So this is a service pipeline oversee. Let's say I have to enable for the traces, right? So I'm saying, okay, hey, my receiver is OTLP and JIT. So you can see OTLP and JIT we are using for the receivers, and processor we are saying, okay, batch. Okay, I'm just taking the example from here, and we have to export those pens. Let's say tomorrow I have to add something in a processor along with a batch. Let's say I have to work in a transformation. Uh, I gave name like transformation something environment transformation or something like. So I have to declare here. I have to write the condition, and I have to add the processor in this processor part next to batch. So that is how we do control our data. So I will cover. We will cover next sessions. Couple of sessions. We will try to give you more insights on open telemetry collector, how we can define, how you can use, and all these things. So this is just a small bit for today. I just want to cover what is the benefits of observability and what is open telemetry. So that is it all. So you can have some useful resources. So you can see. So there is Splunk answers is here. We have documents and all these things, so you can go through them and you can learn. And you can also always reach out to us. You can reach out to me on the LinkedIn. You can reach out to me on Slack, and we can meet in next couple of sessions. So we are good with that. So before anything, I will close the session and all. So do you have any questions? I can help you. or we can discuss.
Though it for me, this was extremely informative. I think others do not have maybe access to audio,
Yeah,
but
they can ask in
some
the
of these
chat.
bits,
Yeah,
yeah. So some of these bits were unknown. So it's good to learn some of these things as we go along as well. Also related to transforming data. So this is something that I had not heard before. That on hotel collector you can also perform transformations. Um, so yeah, in subsequent sessions, maybe like a demo. This screenshot that you had shared from Splunk, was this Splunk Observability Cloud screen, or
yeah,
what was it exactly?
yeah. That is Splunk Observability Cloud. So you can go and you can also try. Uh, so what I will say, let me try to find out.
So is it available like for like
We
in
can do.
Splunk we have like a dev license? Can we
We
use?
have 14 days trial for Splunk Observability, so you can use that. But before that, I can show you that part as well. Splunk. Okay, so let me share my screen again. Stop sharing. Stop sharing. Okay. Mm, I can paste that in chat. You guys can do as well as. Okay. So this is the. Are you able to see my screen? Okay, I will take it as yes.
Yes, I can.
Okay, so this is the lantern sites for Splunk. So right now you can see for the uh, I just opened for the Kubernetes. So you can do in your local, you can do it in your Docker environment as well. So I tried in Docker. So you need a Docker and all that part. So Kubernetes, we either need Minikube or Kubernetes cluster, and then we can create Helm charts. So this is the whole documentation. So this is for the logging. Maybe you can skip this part. So this is to collect the data, logs, and all these things. But if you go down, so they have nice example, nice things they have created. Uh, yeah, this is a process for the mini cube. Okay, so you can follow these steps, and you can even get that part. So you can see here as well. So that I was showing. So I tried in my local. So you can download Splunk Observability suite. So I think they have 2 weeks trial period, and you can do that part. So it's very easy. So you will get a flavor. So maybe I have something in my local as well. Let me see if I have. Uh,
And this also brings me to the next question of licensing costs. So have you adopted this with your org, and are you aware of how the licensing model is for this?
licensing is like there is multiple way. Every organization have their own license. If I talk in a general way, so you can have host metrics, you can have license for the APM part, you can have license. They have different license programs, but it's
Okay.
again it's up to your organization how you want to go ahead. Let's say you have 3,000 machines in your organization, you can take host license, and there is license in for the infrastructure. There is license for APM part. Let's say you don't want to go ahead with the APM and you just want infrastructure, you can just take infrastructure license. That is it. So they have a pillar. So if you can see in this particular slide, particular screen, the first part is for the infrastructure. This is for APM. Then there is a RAM, since that this is RAM. Then this is for dashboards and all these things. So you can explore. So I will. I have requested with Splunk team. Okay, if they can give me some demo instance, or I will just spin up my demo instance for 14 days trial before next session. So I will show how this Splunk things works and all these things. That's what next session plan. But you can try. Before that, you can try. It's very cool. So this is a GitLab Open Telemetry Git, and let me open. Okay, hope you are. I switch the tab. Okay, so you can see this is a GitLab, so you can do that, and they are all the steps you have to do. How you can do this demo thing for Open Telemetry, astronomy, soft demo, and you can do that. There have been some customization based on this Splunk, and all the customization related to Splunk you can see now is Splunk folder. And the main part is like this configuration, hotel config, which I was showing to you, right? So these are the things. I just gave you snips, but you can see over here everything's mentioned, like what are the extensions, and the extension we are used for the health checks, health for the STT folder and all these things. And then you can see we have something memory blast and all these things. So this is the features we have. So they have customized, Splunk has customized based on their requirements, on top of uh, open telemetry, you can say versions. So we have a country version, and we have other versions. I will try to cover in next sessions, but you can see you have extension here. You can have the receiver section starts here. You can say different receiver. I was showing you only one, like host matrix receiver. So to send logs and all these things, you can use front forward and all these things. So that's there. Then these are the OTLP receiver for the protocols, like gRPC, HTTP, and you can see this is SPAM. This is for the APM to send the traces and all these things, and this is for the signal effects. They also have their own receivers to collect some open telemetry metrics and all these things. And if you have Prometheus, so you can use that. There are a lot of things if you'll explore these things. So it's very interesting part and all that. And then the processor you can see. So we generally batch processes are enabled everywhere. And if you want to enable, I was talking about the environment, right? So you can see this environment actually. So if you want to change, like if you want to add some more insights in your data, so you can just enable this kind of, this is just example. We can do it our way, like we can give it like a key as an environment. I can say okay, dev is fine, and we can insert. Or let's say I have to uh, copy. Let's say I have to change the key name. Let's say in my metrics, I'm getting like deployment of environment. I just want to, like some more thing on top of that, like in a granular label I want to do. I can do that kind of upsert, insert, and all that kind of actions. So it's very interesting. This is a processor transformation part, and this is again the exporter. So for the SPAM as APM, you can say for the, this is for the tracing part, this is for the metrics part. So they are using CLFX exporter here, and this is to send the data logs and all these things. So over the HEC token, HEC, you are very aware about these things. So we can use HEC for that. And this is the service pipeline again. So I was just showing the only one pipeline here, right? Only tracing pipeline. So we have, if I have to enable a matrix, logs, and some additional receivers, so I can do that. So this is how it works. So this is a beauty of open telemetry, and everything is done on top of that. So it is just Splunk customizations on that. So I can paste that as well on our chat, so you guys can explore these things. Okay, here you go. And I can say you can try before we will meet again next time. So it's very interesting if you go through these things. Yeah, that is all from my side. Any other questions, anyone? So you can do the chat. Thank you, Chris, for your time. Thanks everyone. Thanks Yusuf. Thanks Aswini. So you are going to get the recording on the event page itself if you missed anything. So thank you all for joining this meet. Let's we'll set up next time and we'll meet and we'll discuss these things in a more deep dive. Thank you everyone.